Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Team Building Tips with Dan Talbot. We'll be right back with Dan. First, we want to recognize our partners, the global community of women in high school sports, and We Coach. These are two great organizations you really need to be a part of. Now, let's hear from our podcast sponsors. We want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. They'll show you how to set up and sell your tickets online. They'll show you how to scan the attendees and collect your revenue. And every step of the way, you're going to have a dedicated client success manager providing hands-on support. That's every step of the way. Go to hometownticketing.com. They'll also show you how to set up and sell your tickets for things like school dances, school plays, concerts, even graduation. That's hometownticketing.com. Simple and easy online ticketing. We also want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to huddle.com. Huddle is how the world sees sports, and over 200,000 teams use Huddle to help their athletes play better using video and analytics. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but as an athletic director, our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches just love the smart cameras, the mobile apps. Of course, they love the analytics, but there's so much more. Huddle set up for youth teams, high school and college teams, and even the pros are using Huddle to help their athletes play at the highest level. Go to huddle.com and you're going to find a complete solution with professional grade analysis. At huddle.com, we believe in sports and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 6 million users, including your student athletes. Go to huddle.com and become a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. We also want to say thanks to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. You know, they're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards for all your teams, for all the events, or a unique way to display your school's Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com or email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com to get started. Their interactive touchscreen consoles and templates will help you recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. Let them help you showcase your school's diverse history and your proudest moments, and go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive. We have a Sideline Interactive indoor scoring table in our gym, and it's just fantastic. Of course, we use it for home games, but we also use it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. It's tremendously versatile, and their customer service is just fantastic. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo and see their tables and boards in action. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com to get started. That's sidelineinteractive.com. Create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. We want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack for sponsoring the Athletic Director's Toolbox segment of our podcast. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic program. At our school, we use surveys for everything, for teachers, for coaches, for kids, even for parents. And the information that we got back was almost always over the top positive, and it'll be the same for you too. But surveys also allow that squeaky wheel parent to vent a little bit. And sometimes they'll share a small issue that you can address and keep it from turning into a big issue because you didn't know about it, because you didn't give them a survey. Go to athleticsurveys.com or email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Go to athleticsurveys.com and let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. We also want to thank our folks at Snap Raise. Go to snapraise.com, or you can go to OnSnap, that's O-N, snap.com, to check out their platform and all the services that they provide. At Snap Raise, you're going to find out a tremendous fundraising platform that my coaches actually use with great success. There's no upfront cost, there's no inventory or managing lists, and it really works. SnapRaise also has a program where you can get your money ahead of time before you even start fundraising. Go to snapraise.com and check out the digital difference that SnapRaise provides, and also check out the thousands and thousands of dollars that they've helped schools just like yours raise using SnapRaise. Change your fundraising game plan. Start a fundraiser that works for you. That's snapraise.com. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and see how athletic directors are creating world-class marketing content for their school's social media channel. You can do it in seconds on any device, and you don't need any design experience. That's Gipper.com. Tell them you heard about it on the podcast. Use the code ADPOD10 and get 10% off. That's Gipper.com. We also want to say thanks to Final Forms, the industry leader in registration. But Final Forms is more than that. Final Forms can help your stakeholders with things like mobile accessibility, and they have reminders for parents about policies and physicals and all the forms that come when you have an athlete in the house. Final Forms can help your coaches with things like attendance and communication. And for athletic directors, Final Forms can help with eligibility, with rosters, and all the reports that come across your desk. You know, it's time that you talk to a team that's walked in your shoes. To take the next steps and find out what Final Forms can do for you, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake to get started with Final Forms. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Team Building Tips on the Educational AD Podcast. Every week, Dan Talbot, a certified master athletic administrator, shares his wisdom with us. Dan, what do you have for our listeners this week on team building tips?
I don't know how much wisdom it is, but this is probably, a topic that always seems to come up, and it's a very easy topic. I think we all know the answer, but we just can't seem to, find the time to do it. And it's, athletic administrators burnout. How often do we get, burnt out in our jobs and get tired and do those different things? And, but unfortunately, at some point in time, we have to take care of ourselves. I think that's important. And it's so difficult when you understand the monumental tasks that we have as athletic directors, whether it's a district level, a school-based level. It doesn't matter, how many sports you have at a school. If you don't have football, maybe you do or don't, whatever it may be. At the end of the day, you're still responsible for a lot of parents' precious commodity, and that's their students and their children. But at some point in time, whether it's, and when do you do it? When do you find the time to take care of yourself? Thanksgiving break, if you're fortunate enough to have a good football team, your football team might be practicing over Thanksgiving. Basketball, they're doing tournaments over Christmas break, spring break. You got baseball and softball, lacrosse, all those other sports that, hopefully are practicing and competing over spring break. And so I guess, is it the summer? Because in the summer, here comes the summer, and you have to get ready for the next school year. So some tips that I have done to kind of get some rest in between. We have 2 days in our district where we have no nighttime activities. We have one in August and we have one in November, and then right now, and they're nights, and we do them on election night. So we promote the fact that we want people out and voting, making a difference. Every vote counts, but we don't allow any night activities on those nights. And so what I stress to the athletic directors is that's a night off, a true night off where there's no buses on the road. Your phone's not going to ring. You don't have a team traveling. You're not hosting an event. You're not doing these different things. It's a true night off, and which we rarely get as athletic directors, because even though you may not be covering an event, you could have a team traveling 2 hours away. Obviously, if you're like me, you don't like to sleep until the last bus gets into the garage. Another tip I would suggest is, and it's like anything else, it's this thing right here. Turn it off if you can. Turn it off when you can, and enjoy the time that you have. Another thing is, how many of you have your email come to your phone? Turn your email off on your phone. Just don't even have your email come to your phone, or, don't check it past your work hours. Because here's the thing, we've all done this, and I've done it a million times, and I'm just as guilty. And trust me, I have a hard time, practicing what I'm preaching right now. But how many times have we gotten an email at 9 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night? We're sitting at home with our significant other, watching TV. We get an email from a parent at 9:30, 10 o'clock. All that did was stress you out and cause you, a sleepless night, because you're wondering what happened. Is it true? Or did this coach do something again? Or what happened? And you're trying to think of all the different scenarios of what could happen, try to get in front of it. But what could you do at 9:30 at night? Nothing. So by getting that email at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning doesn't change anything, except that you got a good night's sleep. You're well rested. You didn't spend the night worrying about it, trying to figure out a solution. You just deal with it first thing in the morning, because that's the only thing you could have done anyway, is deal with it first thing in the morning when you get to the office. But you wanted to check your email, you wanted to do that, and it just adds to the stress when you should be at home, at the times when you should be disconnected from work. But you're not, because of, I always wonder, like, how do we function as a society without a cell phone? We did. And it was nice, because there's a lot of times that thing won't stop ringing, or my office phone won't stop ringing. But no matter what it is, try to find ways to connect. Me personally, I play on two, and this will shock some of you. I play on two men's hockey league teams on Saturday and Sunday night, and I bowl in a men's league on Monday night. It's 3 hours of my time. I enjoy it. But the thing I love the most about those activities that I do, no one cares that I'm an athletic director. No one cares about my job. No one really cares who I am. I'm just a guy on a team that's there to play, have a good time, get some stress release. So, because there's nothing worse than, you and a whole bunch of AD buddies getting together to go out to relax, and you spend the whole time talking about work. And so work never leaves you. So I get involved in those, the hockey game on Saturday night, Sunday night, and the bowling on Monday night. Because like I said, I'm just a bigger guy that knows how to skate and who can bowl halfway decent. And they don't care who I am. They ask a couple of questions about what I do, or if something big comes up, they may ask. But for the most part, I'm just one of the guys, and I'm almost irrelevant, that's what I want. And that's my release, to get away and enjoy my time and not have to worry about who I am, worry about work, get asked about work. Because as athletic director, especially you ones in a really small community, going to buy milk could take 30 minutes, because parents see you, student athletes see you, somebody wants to question you. How come you're not firing this coach? Do this. They got all the answers for you. So this simple task is going to the grocery store, depending on what community you live in, could take up most of your time. But find some things to do, disconnect from that phone, and take some time for yourself.
Yeah. Once again, some great advice. I can still look back, on my career, and my wife was a career coach, Hall of Fame coach. Our kids were on sports. Imagine that. But there were still too many times where I would come home, and either as a football coach or as an AD, the job was with me. People were calling, and I was picking up the phone, because I'm trying to service them, and not thinking at the time, hey, I'm not servicing my family as I should. I didn't do a bad job, but I didn't do as well as I shoulda, coulda. And, again, that advice is so important. And I love the way you mentioned early on, whether you're a new AD or a veteran AD, this is something that, sorry for using this phrase, it's something that needs to be in your toolbox.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's one of those unfortunate things that, because we all know those athletic directors that, man, they never answer their phone. You can never get a hold of them. And is that such a bad thing at times? Um, you know, it's okay to not answer your phone every now and then. I mean, unless it's emergent, or send them the text. With every phone now, you can have pre-scripted, text message. Someone calls, hey, I can't answer the phone, but I can text, or whatever it may be. But you really got to find time to really catch your breath, especially the new athletic directors out there. You guys you're worrying about so many things right now that when you get a veteran AD, you'll just, laugh about, and unfortunately, I remember, during COVID, we got that first case. We got a student athlete with COVID, and it was just like, it was full on panic. And then by the, 3 months later, it's like, okay, we got another one. Make sure you cancel the game. Contact, you just had a checklist of what they were going down and doing. But, find time to disconnect, relax a little bit, enjoy, the time, because I hate to say it. I mean, I've been in this district since 2003, and if I walk away from it tomorrow, I mean, by the time I get my bags packed, they're gonna have this job posted. And that's a harsh reality, and people don't believe that. I mean, it's the same with student athletes that threaten to quit the basketball team. They honestly think in their mind that basketball will not go on. So someone's going to fill your shoes. Being an athletic director at your school is going to go on. No one's bigger than the program, even the athletic director. But find time to take care of yourself, take care of your family, disconnect, catch your breath, and enjoy life. I mean, when I got out of coaching, it was interesting. My best friend and college roommate, he got out of coaching, and we coached against each other. We're actually college roommates for 5 years. He was the head coach at one high school. I was the head coach at another. It was the oldest rivalry in the state of Florida, and was going against each other. And when he quit coaching, I couldn't fathom it. I couldn't even understand what he was going through, what he was thinking. I couldn't believe it. I'm trying to pry, like, what's wrong? Something's wrong. Something's wrong. You're not telling me the whole truth. And he just told me, he goes, you won't understand until you get out. And you won't understand until you get out. So then when I decided to retire from coaching and this focus solely on athletic administration, man, I didn't realize, how much time you spent with other people's kids and other people's student athletes, and how much time and how much more there is life out there. And for those that are just athletic directors now that coached at one point, this already, to enjoy life. So take some time to enjoy yourself. The problems are still going to be waiting for you, because no one else is going to solve them but us. But, athletic directors are, a unique trait. It's a great profession, but the burnout's high and the turnover's high. I mean, take my case, for instance, my first year as county athletic director, I was going into my first summer hoping I wouldn't have any turnover. I just wanted 1 year where I had all the same athletic director from the previous school year start the next school year. And that's wishful thinking. Now it's like, come March, April, I'm like, 2 to 3, probably going to hang it up, because you can see it in their eyes, So I went from hoping not to have one, I figure, I'm counting 2 or 3 every year. And that's just the way the job is the burnout. But we got to do a better job of taking care of ourselves, so we can have less turnover.
Right. I know this is your segment, so I don't want to try to be a topper here, but I came across this about a month ago, and it just it spoke to me. It just knocked me down, but I have started using it in a couple of presentations, and it was something Lou Holtz mentioned in a presentation. And Lou Holtz, famous coach, Notre Dame, South Carolina, other places. He mentioned that he was very fortunate to be named, Coach of the Year a number of times, but one honor, or a couple honors, that he had never received Husband of the Year or Father of the Year. And he said, I don't know if my wife would nominate me for Husband of the Year. I don't know if my kids would nominate me for Father of the Year. And it's absolutely right. I think I've been a good husband, a good father, but because of all those things that you and I talked about, missing events and the school and answering the phone and all that stuff. I mean, you really need to do your job, of course, but you also need to think about, okay, what's, really important right now. So take that time, as Dan suggested, don't have that email notification on your cell phone at all hours. If that cell phone rings, if it's your boss, you probably should pick it up.
Yeah.
But other than that, it can probably wait till the next day. So, that's my 2 cents stolen, as any good athletic director would steal, from Lou Holtz.
That's all we do. We steal it and make it our own, and that's all you could ever ask.
Yeah. Well, Dan, speaking of cell phones, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, you do this every week, but I ask it every week. What's the best way that one of our listeners can reach out and pick your brain?
I just get a segment on turning your cell phone off, but my cell phone number, feel free to reach out anytime, 863-661-0647. Again, 863-661-0647. And if it goes straight to voicemail, then I'm taking a little me time, but leave a voicemail and I will call you back.
Okay. And Dan's information is also available on the NIAAA portal, as is mine. I'm not going to burden you with my cell phone, but if you want to call me, it's on the NIAAA portal. Dan, thanks as always for sharing. All the best with the rest of the seasons, and we'll see you next time on Team Building Tips. For our listeners, remember the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews get uploaded to our YouTube channel. Thanks for listening again. We'll see you next time on Team Building Tips with Dan Talbot.
Thank you.
Thanks again for listening to today's team building tip. Before we leave, let's thank our sponsors. Final Forms. Go to finalforms.com/Jake to see all the ways that Final Forms can help you as an athletic director, your coaches, and your parents. We also want to thank Snap Raise. If you're looking for a fundraising platform that's easy to use and it works, go to snapraise.com. Check out the thousands and thousands of dollars they've helped schools just like yours raise. That's snapraise.com. We want to thank Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack. Go to athleticsurveys.com and find out how you can start mining the information gold mine that your parents and your student athletes can provide using an athletic survey. That's athleticsurveys.com. Also want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing. Go to hometownticketing.com and find out how to set up and start selling tickets digitally online for games and for school plays, concerts, even graduation. That's hometownticketing.com. Want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to huddle.com. Huddle is how the world sees sports. Huddle can help out your coaches, your parents, your student athletes, and you as an athletic director. That's huddle.com. We also want to say thanks to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. If you're looking for a really cool way to display record boards or your Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. I also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive. We've got a Sideline Interactive indoor scoring table in our gym, and it's just fantastic. Go to sidelineinteractive.com or email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com for more information. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and see how athletic directors are creating world-class marketing content. Use the podcast code ADPOD10 and get 10% off. That's Gipper.com. We also want to say thanks to our partners, We Coach and the Global Community of Women in High School Sports. These are two great organizations that you should be a part of. Go to wecoachsports.org or the Global Community of Women in High School Sports.org for more information. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on Team Building Tips with Dan Talbot.